So, as I mentioned in our previous video for Phantom Blade Zero that we did last week when the previous trailer dropped, I mentioned that in a few days we were going to get a state of play exclusively for Phantom Blade Zero. And let me tell you, oh my god. And if you thought they went deep in the Blood of Dawnwalker trailer, well, get ready for this one. Hell, the trailer opens up with Donnie Yen just introducing the game and the video to everyone. So, like previously, I want to go over it, what has been shown, what have they said about it. Because a lot of the questions that I had, even some that I didn't mention in the previous video, are somewhat answered, although I have a bunch of different questions now. Now we have a much better idea of how the game is going to play. So they divide it into sections going in deep into the story, the world, and the combat, and then a pretty lengthy boss fight at the end. So let's just get into it. Okay, so like I mentioned, we have a quick intro with Donnie Yen explaining the game. Also, a nice little cinematic with, honestly, quite good music. I'm actually digging it quite a bit. I mentioned it in the previous video. And the voiceover for the video is actually the creative director called Soulfriend Liang. And what I'm actually surprised is that he does the voiceover in English. I don't know. I'm so used to having these sort of videos by Japanese developers, and they always do it in Japanese. I thought it was pretty cool. Then it goes into the story, because before we knew that Soul has 66 days to live, but it didn't go much deeper into that. Now we know that Soul was once the Order, whatever that is, most fearsome blade. And now we're seeing a little scene that he set up for his leader's death. And what it seems like he was controlled, or maybe he attacked him. We don't know. He kills him, and then he's apparently going to be chased down for it by his former companions. It says that then this whole section will culminate you fighting your childhood friend, Zhuo Shang. I'm doing my best here, okay? I don't know Chinese. And when you fight him, you get like a little, very quick flashback and after that fight, they kind of stab each other. And then like a mysterious healer that he calls the Flask Sculptor, I think. Looks like it replaces Soul's heart, but it has a disease. And that is the 66 days that he has to live. Then it kind of explains a little bit that your goal will be to survive. So that means you need to find a cure. But you will be facing like a plot that could affect the entire world, and betrayal and confrontations. Then it goes into explain what the Wuling is, that we've seen the term before. It describes it as a martial underworld. So even with this, I'm not so sure if it is just a figure of speech or if it is actually a different location from the real world, or maybe an alternate dimension. Now, it does mention that each choice you make here will shape your path and reshape your fate. So maybe, honestly, at no point, me watching, following this game, I thought this is multiple paths in terms of story. I've always seen it as the story is linear and you progress through it. But after what he says here, maybe there is multiple paths. Maybe there is multiple endings. Now, here is a part that he mentions that I don't quite grasp how it's going to play in game. So it mentions that multiple martial artists have converged in this city called Panjeng. It says it has turned the town into a trap of rival factions and hidden malice, he says. So for a second, I thought this town was going to be like a hub area. I mean, could still be, but then he says that you have rival factions and all that. So I don't know if the town is, maybe you arrive at the town and you need to do the level to quote unquote liberate it. You see, if you play Neo 3, it's something similar in the first area. Through the first castle, you go through it. So maybe something similar, that maybe that is you arrive there and you need to clean it, or by sections maybe, and it works as a sort of hub area. But I am not sure. Also, you need to keep in mind, I am just spitballing here, okay? I'm guessing from what I've seen, from what we've seen in the trailer, what could be the things that weren't mentioned exactly, how they could work in game. So take it with a grain of salt. I could be completely off the mark. Then a quick little scene where you see that your childhood friend, the one that stabbed you in the heart, that you also stabbed, it's actually alive there. Something tells me that this is not the main antagonist. I don't think it's the main antagonist. I don't think we have seen it. But that segues into the next section of the video, which is the world. So then the director goes into the aesthetic of the game, says that the Phantom World, as he calls it, is the blueprint, the style that they've called Kung Fu Punk, which is essentially mixing traditional martial arts, Chinese martial arts, with steampunk references and designs and body modifications. We saw this in the previous video. Then the video shows a little bit of some traversal across the map, and then he gives a few examples, because your journey will take you to the heart of Panjang, but also the surrounding towns and valleys. Says that you will encounter a valley dominated by some bandits, then an abandoned warehouse that is filled with hanging puppets that, let me tell you, it looks kind of creepy. It looks kind of creepy. Then you have, like a steam iron tower that he says that is used for some sort of ritual. It looks so cool. I think it's a great mix. I think I mentioned in the previous video, but the steampunk, with traditional Chinese architecture, it looks very cool. And then it shows that you have a vast lake around it, that in order to traverse it, you need to get into a boat, and then it goes through the lake. So maybe, totally my guess, this could work as what the lake is in Resident Evil 4, that you get the boat and you have access to a couple of different locations that you can visit, or how it works in God of War Ragnarok. Then it goes to explain that your journey will be guided by 8 different maps. Now, first, the maps, they look beautiful because they are hand-painted, that traditional sort of Chinese art. At least you're going to have 8 areas to visit. But it says that in complex terrain, this only shows a rough look at the terrain. You will have to explore to uncover hidden secrets. And this is a theme to this section. It puts a lot of focus, it looks like, into exploration and secrets. That paid up with the fact that he mentioned before that your decisions will shape the path. So maybe we're looking at a less linear storytelling that I think we're expecting. Then he also mentioned something that is very cool, that these maps, these 8 regions, I'm guessing, connect seamlessly into one world. So maybe we are looking at something like, it would be high praise, but something like Bloodborne, I love those games that allow you to travel seamlessly from the beginning to the end of the map. Then you have these bells that act as fast travel. Now, here is a little thing. There is nothing clear if these bells are just fast travel or if they are actually, like in a Souls game, sort of bonfires. And what I mean by that is that this is the location where you level up, you equip weapons. We'll get into the weapons and all that. I have a few things with the combat section, but it's not clear, it doesn't clarify if these act as anything else rather than just fast travel. And then he makes sure to point out that Phantom Blade Zero is not an open world game. He specifically says it. But is also not a linear story from beginning to end. Every corner is handcrafted and filled with countless secrets. So I am honestly, after seeing this, now I'm expecting a lot of exploration. And probably whole areas that are optional. Man, I'm just getting excited thinking about it. Then he mentions that you will, as you advance, you will uncover unique enemies. I'm guessing optional bosses, that's what he means. Secrets, treasures, so you're going to have hidden chests. It shows breaking some boards on the ground. Also side quests and crucial story clues. So maybe you have further context for the story or a story of a certain area or a particular boss that is optional. I like that. I like game that really rewards exploration. Then we finally go into the combat section, and as the trailer puts it, this is the driving force behind the game. And I think there is no surprises there. We all know that this game is the combat. Everything else around it is window dressing. Then it explains that Soul will have access to 30 primary weapons, as it was mentioned before, and 25 secondary weapons, which are called Soul Edges. Now, I did mention this before because I wasn't sure, but we get a quick look at the list of weapons. The secondary weapons are essentially bosses' weapons because you can see the head of the lion beast that we'll see later, the shield of the big guy that it was shown to be using in the previous trailer. So these Soul Edges, the secondary weapons, are essentially the boss's weapons. So this is potentially can be a lot of missable weapons if there is optional bosses in the game. As an example, he uses the Drunken Sword style, which looks pretty cool. It uses something it calls Drunken Energy, so apparently you're going to charge it as you attack. And as he's stumbling around, the blade just floats around him, hitting the enemies. And this mode apparently enhances evasion. I'll be honest, I think there is a lot of variety. It looks like the weapons feel very different from each other. Okay, then he goes into saying that relying on light weapons won't be enough. So swords are apparently going to be light weapons, fast pace. So it gets into different types of defenses. I mean, the trailer doesn't go over it exactly, but we can assume that you're going to have different types of weapons for different types of enemies or different types of defenses. So blades will simply bounce from shields. That's when it puts you can call them blunt weapons because it puts the fist, or he mentions that you can use a hammer to break the defenses. Then he shows like a cannon. We also saw a bow before. Then it says that when there is a lot of enemies, you can use something like the big lion head that spews fire. So the Phantom Edges, the boss's weapon, are going to be more special attacks. So your primary weapons probably will be more typical weapons, swords, lances. But the Phantom Edges are like the special ones. And then we can see that each weapon will have its own skill tree, and upgrading them will unlock different abilities. Not only simply, you level it up, it does more damage. No, it actually unlocks special abilities. Then it mentions something that is pretty cool, that you won't have to worry about leveling up a weapon that you're using now if you later encounter something that is new and you want to try out, because you have something called the Reforging Talisman that would allow you to reset the skill tree and the levels from any weapon, restore all materials, and then use them in the new weapon. So if you want to switch, my guess is that you won't be able to do these things on the fly. You're probably going to have to do it in the blacksmith, but you will be able to level up any weapon that you want at that particular point. You don't need to be worried, I don't want to spend it on this one because maybe I find a new one and it's better, or I don't have the resources to level that one up. Now, it looks like these are resources. So you use them to reset the weapon. It looks like they're consumables. But again, don't take me for granted, I am not sure. It looks like it because it says 2 of 25, so you're going to use 2 to reset the weapon. Then it goes into the difficulty options, and this is pretty cool. So the game is going to have 4 difficulty modes. It explains 3 of them. The first one, Wayfarer, it's essentially easy mode / story mode. So easier enemies, more focus in the story. It says it's going to let anyone feel like a kung fu master. So I'm assuming, keep it in mind, these modes are not just, easier, the enemies has less health and do less damage. No. Apparently, from what he's saying, what I'm trying to put out, and I'm just guessing, probably a lot of the harder combos, it will be done automatically. Most likely, you're going to get auto block or auto parry in the easy mode, so you can do more flashy combos without having to worry about inputs or anything. Then it skips the Pathbreaker, which is, I'm assuming, the normal mode, the intended experience, and it goes straight to hard mode, which is Hellwalker. And this one sounds very cool. And says that the bosses won't use fixed patterns of attack. They will behave differently and they will adapt to your playstyle. So I'm assuming, let's say you fight and you parry a lot. If you parry a lot, the boss probably is going to shift attacks to attacks you cannot parry. You get what I mean? And then if you change your pattern and then you start dodging a lot, maybe we'll start using attacks that are much harder to dodge. So the difficulty settings is not only the strength and health of the enemies, and it's not only the easier combos, like I mentioned before, it is also the enemy AI, as it will, essentially the enemies will be more intelligent, or at least he singles out the bosses, so maybe the regular enemies are not, but their AI will be more advanced. They will be more intelligent, essentially, adapting to your style. I think that sounds awesome. And then you have one more, which is called 66 Days Mode. This one, from what you can read, it's unlocked after completing either Pathbreaker or Hellwalker. So this is for a second playthrough. It uses the difficulty from Hellwalker, which is the hard mode, except that this time you have 66 days. What that means is that every time you die, that number will go down by 1. So essentially, you have 66 lives. Once those run out, it's game over. It's permadeath. Now, there is one little detail that I thought about. It's not mentioned in the video, but think about it. We've seen crazy people do Elden Ring without being hit. And yes, those are freaks of nature. That actually leads me to believe that in Hellwalker, the game is going to be very difficult. The game is assuming you're going to die a lot more than 66 times in that difficulty. Otherwise, what would be the point if the average player could beat it with 30 kills? And that's pretty much it in terms of explaining the gameplay systems. After that, we have what is essentially a full boss fight for the... It's called Flame, the mask-bound Lion Dance Grandmaster. And first, the intro, when you wake him up, it's very cool as he does the dance within the pillars. Go watch it, because also the music is fantastic. From what I've heard, I think the OST is gonna go hard. And there is a little detail early on. You see, the big lion, it throws fire as the ability you can use later that we saw before. But then Soul switches weapon and it spews water to it, and then it extinguishes the flames. That actually made me think something. That, again, just spitballing, I don't know if this is the case, but it would be very cool. That sounds like a weapon that really counters this boss. So what if that weapon is from an optional boss? Let's say you can get that weapon if you kill an optional boss before this boss fight. Maybe you can get it, either you kill the boss or you find it somewhere and it's an optional area. And if you didn't, well, you're shit out of luck. Once again, that's another mechanic I love about games. Sure, it's kind of frustrating when you don't know and you didn't find the item that counters the boss fight. But when you do, it is pretty damn cool. So, I mean, I've mentioned it on passing, but the aesthetic of this game, this Kung Fu punk style that they've crafted, the lion head being mechanic, it looks incredible. So it goes through the entire boss fight, and then the director finally goes on to saying that this game is like the way of paying tribute to tradition while also making it an immersive experience for everyone. And that's where the trailer ends. My God, this is so awesome. I can't wait. I am so excited to play this game. Now, after all, there was no supposed demo that was shown briefly on the PlayStation Store. After all, no mention of it. Will still be coming? Maybe. I don't know. Also, there was no mention of a physical edition. I mean, that was somewhat to be expected, even though I believe maybe could be mentioned, but that was to be expected. I mean, PlayStation is getting a lot of heat, to put it mildly. So bringing it up in a state of play, maybe it wasn't going to happen. It's still possible that it's coming. But honestly, beyond that, and the fact that I would have liked to see a demo announced, I am genuinely excited. I'm genuinely hyped for this game. So yeah, that is the latest trailer for Phantom Blade Zero. For now, we don't have any more announcements. We're probably going to get, I mean, if I were to guess, we're probably going to get more information by the end of September, you know, after the craziness of September passes. We're going to get some more information. Maybe we'll know by then definitely if we're getting a physical edition or not, if we actually get a demo or not. For now, we don't know. And overall, I am very excited to play this game. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Still not going to pre-order it though. But if it's good, I'll be there. If it delivers what it's saying, the only question mark, and that one is going to remain until the final day, will be if it runs well. I mean, once again, I'm going to bring Black Myth Wukong, but we all saw how it looked. A lot of people thought the game was too good to be true, but the game was true. And it ran very well. I don't know, man. Chinese studios are cooking, so I'm way more willing to give them the benefit of the doubt than any Western studio. So let me know in the comment section below what do you guys think? Do you have any more theories on how the game is going to work actually in game? Have you pre-ordered the game? Although I would recommend against it just in case, but you're free to let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. As we recently, as of last weekend, we reached 1,000 subscribers. And just to take a second here, I am incredibly happy for it. I mean, it is something that I honestly didn't think was going to happen. Sure, when you're on at like 500, 700, you think, okay, it is possible. But before, it was like, and that would be nice. And now we're there. And I am incredibly thankful to every single one of you that decided to subscribe to the channel, that enjoy the videos. And I hope to see you guys around for a very long time. Now, let's add 10 on the end of that. Next step, 10,000. After that, 1,000,000. Fuck it. So thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
That's the path to know. Be older now.